Well, alright. Battle raps cause I've shaken grown men to the point that they can't even face their own friends. That's why they rhyme about jewels, not life, cause the ice on which they skating is so thin. That's what I love about the human soul. It'll usually show when the truth ain't told. You's a liar, I can smell it on you. Got the voice down packed, but your eyes are telling on you. Shame on you for stretching your mouth around shit that your heart knows you don't.
Welcome back to the Party with Strategy podcast. As you can see, we're not in the normal studio. We got a couple very special guests here. We're at Shore Club Chicago. Not many people know that Chicago has a beach, you know. You would think that this is the ocean here, but it's the lake is what it is. And as a good podcast host, we normally try and keep the spicy and intriguing questions, the questions that everyone wants to know. We try and hold them off for the end, but for you guys, we gotta start it up front. You know, everybody wants to know, and I'm speaking for everybody because I've talked to a lot of people.
Yeah.
What it is that you guys do, first and foremost, and also your names.
All right, let's really start. So my name is Andrew Landon.
I'm John Landon.
Known as the Landon twins, but I mean it's a very intriguing question you have to ask us. So I think we'll start kind of way back when, and I'll talk about what I've done. My brother could go into what he's done, but
okay, so you're doing separate things.
Well,
I felt like everything you did was together, 100%.
That's what
the perception.
That's what everybody thinks. So let's do fiction versus nonfiction.
Okay,
I think
I like
the ways
this.
to go.
I like clearing up the rumors.
Fiction is that me and my brother do everything together, and we don't have jobs, and we're trust fund babies. That's the fiction part.
A lot of trust fund.
A lot of trust fund. So let's
times zero.
Well, the Jewish earrings don't, help the stereotypes here.
Yeah, it's a stereotype. Once again, fiction versus not. Let's go with the nonfiction part. So the nonfiction part is we grew up in the city, right, and went to Francis Parker, which is a great school, prepared us for what the next part of life was, which is actually going to college. So we did go to college. I went to Indiana University, graduated Kelley School of Business, got out of IU, and actually got a real job in advertising for a company called Kelly Scott and Madison. Did that for about 5 years, grew up the ladder, learned everything about advertising world. It worked for this very small company at the time called AOL Time Warner. They basically were the Amazon of the early to late 2000s and worked there for 5 years and did very well there. And then after that, worked for another really tiny company called Hearst Corporation. They only own half of New York and the biggest magazine company in the world. And then after that, Hearst, the company I worked for with Hearst was called UGO, and that merged with a company for a very tiny, even tinier company called Fox. And I worked with Fox for a couple of years. And after that is when me and my brother kind of merged our business. So I'll kind of let my bro tell you what we did. So it's not just some jobs.
A couple of small companies there, Chicago and America and the world. I took a little different path. I mean, I definitely Francis Parker, awesome school. Listen, we were in no way wealthy. We were lucky together, and we thank our parents for sending us there because we did learn a lot there. Learning by doing was a lot of the whole thing. So during that time period, I forgot, maybe my brother forgot to say, we probably started working when we were 6.
Maybe not 6, maybe 9.
Somewhere
my
around
dad
there.
put us to work in 9, probably.
Babysitting. We worked in mailrooms. Camp counselors. I am.
Was it an overnight camp?
No, the local day camp called Fred's Camp with a lot of people actually that are from the city. I mean, I just want to give everyone the whole picture that work started very early in our lives.
Yeah.
And that was actually the best part of it.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, most people were going to camp or going on vacations, and we were working, which, I'm fine with. Let's see, I will not lie. I personally, which actually kind of shaped some of my life, did work at a tanning salon in the 90s.
No.
Yeah, I did.
I worked at the Gap. No joke. Gap, I worked at the Gap. I think I served Dave Matthews one day. So all the working stuff. But then there was multiple jobs. I mean, I'm telling you, I think I did the tanning salon at night, the mailroom during the day, and there was probably some babysitting in there as well. So yeah, a lot of that stuff went out, and I was saving a lot of money. So, but why that shaped everything for me personally is that
it was kind of the entrepreneurial thing. Like I really didn't figure that corporate stuff was even for me because I was actually going out to nightclubs at a very young age. I don't have to give the exact age, but I learned all about that different stuff. So that was something that was on my radar. Plus, I met a lot of these nightclub folks at the tanning salon because I was kind of running it. And so there was only one back in the day, Chicago. I did not have a tanning booth in my apartment. That was way too expensive.
By the way, this is all a real tan, so it's not.
This is real.
This is not tanning booth stuff.
We're talking about the 90s, you know, like 1994,
yeah.
3, 2,
real tans. I don't think we've been in a tanning bed since 1993,
I have not since college.
94.
Not since college. But anyways, did all that work stuff, real jobs. That's where you get a paycheck and you get money and you put it in a bank account. And you actually are able to buy stuff with it. That's kind of how work works, right?
Yeah.
It's that.
Yeah.
So anyways, from there I went to this prestigious school, which is called Madison, Wisconsin. Awesome. Great sports teams, awesome. And ultimately, I was still doing the thing called work during there because there was a little thing like my dad did end up going to jail. And so there was no money there. My mom did end up taking the money.
My dad went to jail, but he didn't kill anybody. He just took a bunch of money.
Right.
So
But
let's just get that clear.
He's a white collar.
Yeah, white collar.
Yes,
it was
right.
actually at Oxford, Wisconsin, which was right next to me. So it was very convenient for me to bring a McDonald's,
Okay.
which was not cool
And
at all for me.
everybody wants to go to Oxford. It's
So
a
I
really
go-
cool jail.
Well, hold on. I can't imagine you guys didn't have a hefty amount of money growing up if your dad went away for.
We did not. The hefty amount of money that
money.
he had, the hefty amount of money that he had was geared towards his art collection, which had nothing to do with
Oh.
us. Modern art, which
That's a rich man's game, though.
wasn't worth anything. He just wanted to be cool. He did actually have a very nice social life with many beautiful women because that's just what he liked. A lot of money went there. A little bit of money went to my mom, which my mom spread very well on Aldi back in the day. Aldi guys, and we still go to Aldi now. So
I love Aldi, but
Yeah.
he did pay for let's give him the credit. He paid for Parker
Sure.
for 14 years, and he
Sure.
paid for half of college each. He paid 2 years of college each, but once again, we had to pay for the rest of it through loans and through working. Remember, working. That's
And
the key to
I'm not
this.
saying like our parents didn't do. Like my mom was great when she had money. Once the money was gone, she was like, "Go find your dad's buried treasure," which made no sense.
Right.
My dad was great.
Your dad was DB Cooper?
Not quite.
My
sure.
dad did a lot of good things. There's no doubt about that. But I think the bullet full circle is like going back to the work aspect because ultimately through college we both worked summers and then I also threw parties in college. And that also relates to where I started my career is that like there was a lot of New York and LA kids that went to Madison, if you could believe that, like 2 hours away from Chicago. They actually thought Chicago was a town. I never heard about us as being a town because we're the third biggest city, but then they came to Chicago and I'm like, oh my God, there's nightclubs here and restaurants and like bars. Like this is super cool. Well, you have a lake and it's clean. I'm like, yeah, this is Chicago. We actually are a city. And so there's a demand for the fact that of me kind of showing these LA, New York kids and a lot of the suburban kids. We did grow up in the city of Chicago, not the suburbs, which is not the city.
That's another myth,
Right.
guys. So the Landon twins grew up in the city of Chicago.
Where at?
We grew up right in the Gold Coast and River North because our parents were divorced basically the day we were born. But you got to remember, the Gold Coast and River North in the 80s and 90s is not the Gold Coast and River North
not even
of
close.
today. So that's Mythbusters. We grew up there, but it was a lot different back then. And everybody's like thinking Chicago is so dangerous right now. You should have seen it what it is back then. We didn't have a thing called Instagram to shoot video and Facebook and whatever. It was not good back then. But we felt comfortable. So we did not grow up in Highland Park. We did not
grow up in a mansion, and we did grow up in bunk beds. But when we were young,
Right.
Are
we
you
had our
still
own
in
rooms.
bunk beds now?
We're
Or
not-
not?
No, we do
we're not
not have
bunk
bunk beds
beds.
now.
Okay, all right.
But just to get to the work, so listen, what I did after school, a little different path than my brother. And to be honest, we both could have gotten jobs at CDW, if anyone knows what that is, Computer Discount Warehouse. Like, and probably been retired on an island, and we wouldn't even be sitting here with you because there'd be no reason to. We'd be on an island
Counting
somewhere.
your money.
Counting our money.
Yeah.
Swimming in money like
We decided,
McDucks.
because we would have got in right away, we decided not to do that because we wanted to pursue, and a big part of it is pursue what we each wanted to do. Like, our parents were not wanting us to do that. They thought the safe way, and we didn't do that. So what I did, which is a lot different, because I love that nightlife stuff. And ultimately, I did that all through college to help pay bills. I did it when I was abroad in London at just a small club called Limelight. I threw parties there. I did parties in California for the Rose Bowl at Dragonfly, which at the time was another small little place. The facetiousness is coming out. These are huge places, huge guys.
We're Mythbusters, huge. Fiction, nonfiction.
And then literally out of college, I was offered these jobs. I was offered, I think, an advertising job, but definitely CDW. But I wanted to go into the nightlife. That's what I wanted to do. And there was a guy named Billy Deck that I did a bunch of stuff for, and I give him all the credit in the world because he knew that I was the next big him or the next generation of what he had done, which he did a great job.
So real quick, because we're getting a lot of information here.
Yeah.
It's coming at us quick, double time with the twins.
Yes.
Starting in nightlife for you was what, promoting?
Yes. So that's the other thing is that I promoted when I was in my early age. I don't want to give the exact age, but it was very, very early. It was in that high school, college realm of stuff. And so that's
5 at the door.
John started that because that's what I wanted to do. That's like literally what I wanted to do for my life. And that a lot of that came from the older people I met from East Bank Club, which we'll probably get to at some point, and the tanning salon. Like, because I was running this tanning salon. I was like taking the money, cleaning the beds. Like, it was not all just like fun, let's hang out and whatever. It was like kind of disgusting, gross work. But you know what? I met a lot of people there. So I ultimately, after like college, I was like I said, I went in and there's a little place, small little place, another small Circus nightclub, which at the time in 1999 was by far the biggest, and that was owned and run by a guy named Mark Bortz, who, if you look behind us, we have Chicago Sport and Social, all the volleyball stuff. That's what he owns primarily now with some other stuff. Billy Dack, Brad Young, gave my start. A lot of folks that right now run the nightlife in Chicago all kind of work for this company, which was, owned by these folks. And it was not like, hey, let's just go throw a party. Like, it was like legit work. Like, how do you fill a 2,000 person nightclub every night that you're open? How do you do? And the private party business was a huge deal. Like,
well, how do you do that?
How do you do that? Well, first of all, there's layers. We call it layers of different stuff. So the way that I did it was, obviously I had my friends that I knew from the Big Ten colleges. That was one layer, and then there was a suburban layer, and then there was, we call it charity layer. We did a lot of charity events. We gave back, that's a lot. Not people don't really realize that that's what nightclubs do, is we actually do donate space and donate, liquor and all that different stuff. So there's charity levels. Then there was promotional levels. I had everyone from like Rob Bass. You guys probably don't know what Rob Bass is or whatever. It just takes two or whatever. To we had Darva Conger like throw a party for Playboy.
I don't think anybody knows who Darva Conger is.
But I'm saying, Joe
this
Millionaire.
podcast is so
I got it. But
younger.
It is younger, but this is we're talking about.
So, they got Google.
Now the stuff that we're talking about, like, the big name DJs and all this different stuff. Like there was like the reality show people and hip hop artists and then artists and. So there was a lot of different layers. We'd always say about 10 layers we try to get, and that's how you fill. Like you wanted people to come early, stay late, and enjoy it. So Circus, Dragon Room, there's a place called Biology Bar, and then Hogs and Honeys was another place. And then, there's a guy named Brad Altman. You got to give Brad Altman a shot. He's the one that I started with at the beginning in the promoter aspect. And so I did a lot of promoter parties, and that was promoting. So there's a difference, between promoting when you're young and then getting to where I'm about to get to right now. And that is like marketing and real business and looking at numbers and looking at cost of goods sold, which is like your liquor and all the fun stuff that you guys don't know about, which is actually not that fun, but that's how you make money in this business. And so from there, I actually opened up a place called Hard Drive at the Hyatt Regency. Shelly Howard, God rest his soul, introduced me to the two other guys, Greg Saunders and Tom Poggles, who were the managers at the Hyatt. So we threw a nightclub in the middle of the Hyatt. A guy named Robbie Schloss, who's here right now. I think he did some promotions there back in the day. I could be wrong, but I think so. Shout out to Robbie.
Previous podcast guest. Check that episode out for sure. Owner of this beautiful establishment. Got us the hummus platter and the golden goose.
This was his idea was to come on the LANDAN twins to come on the podcast. So we're only on this
because of him.
Because of Robbie.
But I'm almost done because this is
my
where
brother's taking a long time.
Well, this is because everyone doesn't realize how much it gets to. So Hard Drive was at the Hyatt, dude. Through a nightclub there. It was insane. We did everything from a Maxim party to a Playboy party.
Now, what year is that?
This is, I want to say, so I turned 30, so this is when the White Sox won the World Series, so right around there, so
2007.
7, 8, something like that?
Yeah. No, 6 or 7.
6 or 7, but it was right around there, right around there. And then from there, that's when I started working with Mike Bisbee, who owned a place called Manor and Rhino, and now owns ton of places in Chicago.
Yeah, and we just had White Shadow on.
And White Shadow, and so then that's when I started working with White Shadow. Paul Blair, you're my guy, love you. And I went over to become the director of marketing for Rocket Ranch, and that brought it full circle with Billy Deck and Arturo Gomez and Brad Young. Did that?
Which I know Arturo was on your guys.
Arturo was also on. That
I haven't watched that one yet, but I'll have to take.
But did that for 4 years or so, and then at that point, I had done everything that I needed to do to like literally become an owner or a partner and whatnot. And then that's when kind of like my brother was. The world was changing again, and so we kind of what happened really was that Timeout magazine came to me from a co-worker at Rocket Ranch after I left.
Pull that mic up a little bit so we can hear you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Timeout magazine came to me through a co-worker, Jamie Weil. Thank you for that. And she's like, listen, they want to do a piece about you, kind of like what the New Yorker does, which is like a little like snarky, like let's kind of what we're talking about right now. Do these guys live in bunk beds? Are they gay twins?
I think it's really like the myth buster of what the LANDAN twins were. And the good thing was, and so basically this all happened in 2012. It was really random. My brother and I had just once again taken our money that was not given to us by anybody. We bought our first condo in 2007, and then we grew out of that condo and we bought a second condo in 2010 that was twice the size. So we're still living together. We're making money together through these condos and whatnot, renting out one. That was another business.
Once again, more business.
More business.
More business 101. Once you make money, you buy certain things to make more money.
Yes, well, that's the idea. But the whole thing was in 2012, randomly, we both left our jobs at the same time. I think we had both done as much as we possibly could have done in the advertising world. Me, specifically in the advertising world, I was there for 10 years. So that's a long time to be in there, jumping from company to company and working the crazy hours, and my brother doing his thing. And when Timeout Magazine came to us, we basically didn't have any ties to anything. So we could fully talk about everything about our family.
This is the most important thing. So, we were not tied to... When you're with companies... Some other people try to make sure that they get all the credit and they try to overshadow you and stuff like that. I'm the busboy. I don't really care about that stuff. I just want to make money. But this opportunity came about talking about us two. And so with Jerry Kleiner is our mentor to help design our place on Carnival and Marche and Vivo and a bunch of other stuff. And when we told him about the opportunity, he goes, listen, man, they're just going to say whatever they say. But press is press, whether it's good or bad. Press is press.
As long as you're not killing anybody or doing anything crazy, they could say whatever they want, but if you actually tell the truth and whatnot, it's completely different. And the thing with us is we never really shared our story. I mean, we're kind of sharing it with you now, but this was shared in print back then. I mean, there was that back then, magazines and stuff like that was big, right? So,
yeah.
It wasn't just the internet. So we were sharing our story for the first time because honestly, we kept a lot of our stuff from the corporations I work for, because nobody's going to the corporation world and saying, oh, by the way, my dad went to jail, you know, blah, blah.
Back then, if you all know this, it was not cool for your parents to go to jail. Like, there was no, like, TV shows saying, okay, like, whatever, that Real Housewives stuff. Like,
society was still at a good point.
No,
We've declined pretty far.
None of it was cool.
Point.
Now it's super cool to go to jail because you got the Real Housewives all going to jail. You got that Chrisley guy. Dude, they're going to make so much money. Right. The better part is if you go to jail now, you're gonna make more money after you get
But
out
anyway,
of jail.
so the whole timeout
Wasn't
thing,
like that back
So
then.
I was on the board. I still am on the board of Chicago Gateway Green. We beautify the highways. Robbie Schloss again has been involved with Gateway Green for a long time and helping, and that's a charity, y'all. A charity that we actually raise money to beautify this beautiful city of Chicago, and that the Landon twins are involved in. We do tons of charity work. We can get in that in a little bit, but the timeout thing really, ultimately, the reporter. I can't even believe I can't remember her name at the point because whatever. She came with us to this charity event for the Green Tie Ball, which will be coming out in 2025. It was the original big charity party in Chicago. And she started meeting people like Grant Porter, I believe.
Well, the
Lee
goal
Gallup.
of her thing was to literally
Yeah.
be with us for like a half an hour, kind of get our story, talk to a few people, and leave. That was really the goal of this.
Well, it was also to make
article.
fun of us.
And
I
to
think it
make
was
fun
supposed to
of
be
us, yeah.
funny and like, let's really confirm all this stuff. But then she started meeting some big dogs into the city, and she was having real conversations with them. Meanwhile, I was kind of working my charity, talking to all like the people on the associate board or
We
whatever.
were also schmoozing in the room. We just let this girl do her own thing.
Marissa Conrad, I think is
Yes,
her.
Marissa
I think she went
Conrad.
to Pop Sugar afterwards or whatever. But Marissa, thank you because
Yes.
you did well. But to kind of speed this up a little bit, we actually were going. We had just been with. So Barack Obama played East Bank with us for years, and I also did Crystal Gardens the New Year's Eve. Crystal Gardens New Year's Eve for the last like 15 years with Stefani as my partner.
This is what I wanted to ask you about because
Yeah.
I had heard that
Yeah.
everyone's what do they do? What do they do?
Yeah.
The Trust Fund Babies, but I had always heard
Yeah.
that you threw the big event at Navy Pier
Absolutely.
for New Year's Eve.
So yeah, my partners are Phil Stefani. Love them. They own Castaways. They actually have a some sort of role in Shore Club with Robbie. I believe they do the food and liquor. I don't want to plagiarize what exactly they do. They're amazing partners. So I brought Phil this opportunity to say, listen, we could do this charity for Barack Obama. You guys do the food and drinks. And I had asked him, hey, could we get a picture with him, because he knows us from East Bank Club. Like he would get us in a room. We said if he got us in a room by ourselves, he'd be like, you two are the biggest hacks on the East Bank basketball
Let's take
court.
that back for 1 second, though. But in all honesty, people. I mean, when we were going to East Bank, we were kind of networking at the age of 11 to 14, 15 to 16, whatever. And we were meeting all these people, and one of them happened to be this guy in yellow shorts and a purple shirt that, smelled like cigarettes. And once again, when we were 11 and 12, we didn't smoke cigarettes, but our dad did, so we knew what cigarettes smelled like. And we played basketball with this guy for years, and we had really good lungs back then. We were not good at basketball, but we were good at stealing the ball. And we stole the ball from Barack a lot. And we didn't call him Mr. President because he wasn't president back then. He was just Barack. And I remember we did this for quite a while playing against him. But when we turned 22, coming out of college, we kind of ended our basketball career because we had definitely hacked people enough. And we were old enough that they could hack us back. We decided we don't want to do that anymore.
Everyone was ready to hack us.
Take a little smack
So
in the
luckily
Landon
we
twins.
got out of that. So anyways, done this thing for Barack and Phil, smartest guy ever.
Well, wait, what's this thing?
Okay, yes. So sorry to I guess I overshadowed. So in his second term, I put together a fundraiser for him. It was at the Cultural Society Museum downtown. With Phil Stefani catering it, and Phil is great at that. And we were just there. It was cool to do something for a president. And at the time, the Timeout magazine
It just came out.
was just coming out. So we were wearing our crazy suits on the cover. I didn't bring a copy of it, but maybe you'll splice some stuff in. And so Phil goes, Liz, I go, can we get a picture? It's like, and I don't do a great Italian accent, but he's got a strong one. It's amazing. But he's like, listen, that's 10,000. There's no reason for.
We thought it would be no problem.
No problem.
Like,
It's not.
why
They
not
do 40 pictures.
Why not just take a picture with the Landon twins and have a couple-minute conversation?
No,
The president
that's
of
not
the
how it
United
works.
States, it didn't
Doesn't
work that way.
So he
unfortunately.
goes, listen, and he throws these paper bracelets on. Before the cool bracelets that you get at Tao and all that stuff, that's all magnetized. These are paper.
Yeah, the cloth, yeah.
Cloth, right. And so anyways, he goes, listen, you stand here. And the president's going to go around, give us a couple-minute speech, and then he's going to go around. You'll get way more time.
But I
with
got to
him.
interject. So we're at this event, this charity, and normally you'd wear a suit, right? We're wearing our custom suits that I'd never wear in this day and age, but back then we did. And it was pink pants with a blue plaid shirt.
I had purple pants.
This polka dot shirt and like crazy colored glasses. I mean, we look like absolute clowns.
For sure. There's no doubt.
like clowns.
Like the guy that's like on the Marlin. He's not a Marlins player, but he like always wears that loud Marlin shirt at every like sports event, you know, like, and it's just like tries to heckle. Right. So what happened was this.
But that's your guys' thing.
It was definitely our thing, but when you look at like, do like a fashion review of stuff that you would never wear again,
right.
These suits are retired and burnt.
I don't think I have anymore.
I think I.
But
gave
anyways,
away.
so Phil was completely right. Barack starts running around, and my brother just got iPhone 1. That's how old this is, right?
Or iPhone 2. I think I got the one that started with the video.
But
so.
I had a BlackBerry at the time. BlackBerry's for people that worked. So that I had a BlackBerry.
I had a BlackBerry too. I had both. Yeah.
So, anyways, he starts rolling around. I go to my brother. You start taping this. You got to. And so instead of like everyone saying, "Oh, hello, Mr. President. Very nice to meet you," you know what? We're screaming, "Barack!"
You have these two 30-year-old guys
You just
wearing
hacked
the
them like you guys were still on the court.
Basically,
the most colorful stuff, screaming at this
the
guy.
Landon twins from East Bank, whatever. And like, I swear to God, no joke, it's on YouTube. He turns to us, and then the crowd and goes, "These two are the biggest hacks on the East Bank basketball court." This is the president of the United States at the time.
It's living on YouTube. I taped it. I think I have, 10,000 views or something crazy.
But to pull this full circle is that during this article for Timeout, Marissa Conrad, we go to her like, "Listen, Phil was just so happy that we met one president and Barack. He's like, dude, you got to go meet my boy Bill Clinton,
right?
Who's doing an event at the House of Blues."
We just did Barack, and we're doing this thing with Marissa Conrad for the Timeout, and we said
we got to leave.
We're like, yo, do whatever you need to do. She's like, can you guys stay? Can we go out? Can I go out all night with you guys? This girl from Timeout's like she wanted to spend 30 minutes, and now she wants to come out all night with us, and we're like, we got to go see Bill Clinton, but we got this kid named James Feely.
Right, our very close friend of the time.
So why don't you just go out with him, and then we'll meet up later.
So anyways, we go do the whole Bill Clinton thing. We meet up with her later, and just to make this full circle, I guess in the middle she called her publishers and said, "I think there's a little bit more than just a half pager here."
Or what I know, you know what?
I think it was Randy.
It was whatever myth you told me about these guys. It's the absolute opposite.
Right.
It seems they have good jobs. It seems they know everybody.
They
don't live in bunk beds.
No.
They actually own condos. And we gotta flush out the story. So I want to do a bigger story on that.
So it turned out to be a half page, full page, couple page spread, then a video, and then we were up for the cover, which has never happened with two civilian humans ever. A Timeout, and we were doing Timeout when we were in London in the 90s.
Like celebrities or like a person, place,
or a place.
Yeah.
Right. And so it turned out to this cover, and then that's kind of when everything started with like, all right, great. Now we're pulling a full circle with the Landon twins doing some business together.
And I think what really happened, so, with my brother getting out of working for a corporate nightclub, I had started this thing in 2010. So I started when I was in the advertising community to give back. There was a not-for-profit called the Chicago Interactive Marketing Association. And I worked with them for quite a while, for about 3 years. And that was a non-for-profit that I spent a lot of hours in. I basically did all their social for them, and now they're absolutely huge. They're one of the biggest marketing associations in the country, if not the biggest. And I did that for 3 years and doing huge events and whatnot. When my brother was joining the nightclub business, I was doing for this huge marketing charity. I met a lot of industry folks, some of the biggest people in advertising, kind of put my name on the map with that. I've got so many advertising stories, but we'd be here for like a million years. But through that, I started my own organization called the Chicago Interactive Social Club. And that was basically to do events for the advertising community. They were free events to bring the community together. I would rent a place, whether it's my brother's or something else, somebody else's. And I would do drinks and food and all this kind of stuff. Basically everybody right now has their own version of what I started in 2010 of doing these events, charging 10, 15, 20 bucks. Networking events is what I call them, but it all came through from the Chicago Interactive Social Club, basically them doing a copycat or seeing what I was doing and creating their own thing. And it really started a business for the corporate entity in advertising to what my brother was doing, and that's really why it made sense for us to start doing things together.
So then what really kind of brought all this full circle. So yeah, the Timeout magazine comes out. Awesome. Just unbelievable. Like, could not be better press for us.
Yeah, did you guys like become influencers at that point? What year is this?
So this is July of 2012. So it really was. There was no really big paid influencers at that point, but what everybody says is we're the OGs. We're the original influencers. I mean, this cover magazine story of the biggest local publication comes out, and me and my brother on the cover, it was just huge. I mean, the amount of people that are viewing it, it got the most. First of all, the biggest purchases they ever had for their magazine for Timeout was our cover. The most views they ever had on their social media and their website was from our magazine. So basically, when you say influencers, absolutely,
it wasn't monetized like it is now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, but this did turn into a few things. So, good friends of ours then were like, okay, dude, we need to do a TV show on you, and people have been wanting to do that for a long time. But
hold on, let's pause for 1 second. I got a quick question,
yeah.
and then we'll pick up.
I see. People say, "Hey, midgets." I think that was just I
No,
think you got that tip.
guys?
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Hey, midget. I'm sure that was Hey, midget.
That's
I'm like, hey,
that's something on camera.
that's really key.
Who was it? Was it anyone good, Robbie?
Great.
Oh, okay.
Very PC Chicago.
Yeah, we don't
condone
I don't even understand how
any
you
of that
saw that
language.
ourselves because we're
the
sitting
M
down.
word.
But yeah,
The
I don't
M
like that
word.
word
No,
whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I don't like
can't
that
even
at
have
all.
this on
Not
my
cool.
podcast.
But everybody did see that.
Yeah. So,
All right, wait, hold on. So, do you guys enjoy at least a little bit of being that underdog where you obviously dress eccentric and people think these things of you and you know that none of it's true, but then you get to talk to someone for 10 minutes and tell them all the things you did and they're like,
it's really it's unbelievable because the real people that know us know this is just part of the game. Like we are. Listen, I hate saying this because people say it to us, but they're like, you're local celebrities, you're influencers, you're this and this. It's not like we chose to do that. It's just like, all right, great. I'm in the nightclub and life, and we know celebrities because our friends are celebrities in LA. They've actually did it, you know what I'm saying? And we've also known many athletes and many everything, politicians from, just our entire lives. Not because we're trying to we're not the guys that try to go after it. There's those people out there that try to do all that stuff. That was never our deal.
Well,
people just trust us.
We're not. Underdogs is really a terrible thing to say, because we're not underdogs. I mean, listen, we've got very good educations. We know what we're doing.
But it's the underdog is representative of the way people view you versus who you actually are. You know what I'm saying?
I think we're in a society now, even back then, where people are going to view you any way they want to view you. It is what it is. I think my brother and I dress the way we dress and wear the clothes we want to wear because we like them. I don't think there's a show for that at all. We have a lot of influences from our mentor Jerry Kleiner and fashion houses and style and brands and all that kind of stuff, where we look at those brands, you see a Gucci or a Prada or whatever, and we don't want to go out and spend all the money on that. We just find stuff that we like that emulates it by accident sometimes, or just stuff that we want to wear. When it comes to underdogs, I think people just make opinions of us because they see identical twins that go out all the time, and they think we just go out and whatnot, and we're together a lot. They just don't understand the background. So it is what it is with that.
I think the biggest thing is just to really be honest about it, is that everyone talks about hazing and people just talking mad ass shit. And you think it's bad now. This has been happening since we were freaking born. Imagine two twins like us, whatever. So I understand what you're saying, underdogs, but I relish in it. I'm just bring it. You know what I'm saying? That gives you thick skin.
Yeah.
And listen, I totally am not for that. But I am not the person I am right now unless that didn't happen to me. It happened. 1 billion, and it still happens as you just witnessed.
We get hazed, and people say stuff to us all the time. And if you really pay attention to that stuff, it's going to ruin your life.
Yeah.
My brother and I don't think about that kind of stuff at all. Now, we have had people that have tried to ruin our careers by saying just crazy stuff because they said it. They've tried. It's never worked. But in this day and age with social media and all that kind of stuff, people could literally make up whatever they want, and if people believe it,
and it is sad in this world that there are people that have unfortunately have taken their lives from lies. You know what I'm saying? Like they've taken their lives because of lies or things that are just like blown out of proportion.
Right.
And man, I will say this. I can tell you right now, what's happening in this world has happened to me a lot worse. And I'm just I try to brush it off.
We honestly did not
get into it.
We didn't take it to heart, but there are, and I'm not even to bring it up, but there's probably mutual friends that we've had that took things to heart when they probably shouldn't have, and it either ruined their career or they took their own lives. And it's just terrible that people say certain things when they don't know what the outcome is going to be. And like my brother said, our skin is so thick at this point, and we've been dealing with this our whole lives that we just don't even think about it.
And the underdog thing is, you're right. Like our liquor company is kind of an underdog because it is Hardley Water. It's self-distributed by our 4 partners. So you're saying all this stuff that you're talking about is kind of underdog stuff, but we make sure that we go straight ahead and we prevail no matter what. There's no saying stop, and that's because when we were younger we had jobs, and because we worked in mailrooms and dealt with every type of person that a lot of people are like, oh, I just want to be the boss. Screw that. I'll do anything that makes everyone money and everyone's a team and everyone's having a great time type stuff.
Yeah, and underdog may have been the wrong term, but I'm what I'm trying to say is, because I'm trying to relate, because I love this about myself, is that I've been viewed as like, you know, I did the send nudes thing and I'm DJing, and like the whole send nudes thing took over. And then when I go to DJ, people are like, this guy can't DJ. Like he does this thing. Like he's only here because of this. And then I DJ and they're like, oh wow, shit, he could DJ.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? You get that like, oh wow factor.
Yep.
And I'm asking if that, like, you have like, people have low expectations essentially, and then you are able to just astronomically hit it out of the park.
So perfect example is this. What you're saying is 100%. At the end of the day, first of all, we've never gotten like, every time we've done anything, I mean, I could speak for me, and I know I could probably speak for him, but we always kill it. We don't just say, okay, we're going to do it half-ass and whatever. Kill it.
Yeah.
No one's ever said, oh my God, they might make fun of us, like that person on the beach called us, whatever that was, and they might say some kind of racial stuff to us, whatever. No one's going to say, whoa, the LANDAN twins didn't do good business for us. No one's going to say, they took money from us. Really no one's going to say that.
I really think it's what it is because they don't know our background, and that, you know, we did actual real business and we were doing everything from A to Z on projects. You know, when I was in the advertising world and my brother was in his corporate world, you know, they don't know that kind of stuff. They basically think, oh my God, here's 2 guys that are just going out and getting paid to party. And they don't know, you know, if we throw an event, like recently, you know, we threw events for Hardley Water, our new company or whatnot. They're like, oh my God, it's so easy to throw an event. You just say, I'm throwing an event and everybody shows up. No, they don't realize the background that you have to do. You have to literally have a good database, right? You have to have the right people in the database, right? You've got to get the venue. You got to make sure that the venue is the right venue and it's cost effective, whether it's donated for a certain reason or whatnot. You got to get the right product, obviously our product. You've got to then create a guest list that's so big that at least you're going to get a good amount of people to show up. You got to make sure that the weather is great. That's something you can't control. And
I mean, you know what they say.
Yeah. What do they say?
They do say that Jews control the weather.
Yes, Jews control it. Yes, I think that might be possible. I never heard that term, but I like it.
You've never heard that?
No.
That's like a huge thing.
I like it. But then at the end of the day, you've got to get the people there and then make sure the event's successful. People don't realize there's so much, and they just think, oh, these 2 twins are going out and partying and drinking for free and not paying for anything and blah, blah, blah.
I'll be straight up honest. Like, work is work, okay? Like, if you don't like the job you're in, that's not my problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, I chose the job that I wanted. I could have, I think I've said this maybe an hour ago, I don't know what we'll be talking about. I could have chose CDW. I could have been pretty much miserable for 10 years and worked in the suburbs, but I would be wealthy. Like, I would not even have to even worry about any of these people talking shit because I'd have so much money I wouldn't know what to do with it because we would have been in the ground floor. Like, and I would have killed it. I just didn't want to do that. That's not what I wanted.
Yeah.
I wanted to do what I wanted to do. And ultimately, this is what I'm doing. And every job is a job if you consider what the dynamics go into it. It just, and they all work the same. It's all a bunch of work that goes into it. There's a lot of planning. There's a lot of strategic things you've got to do. And at the end of the day, you have to succeed or you fail and you lose.
It's really like, what you're saying, where people think you just have one skill set and that's it. We have a lot of different skill sets and people don't know that. But, we don't care what other people think. We work with some of the biggest people in Chicago, from the Sanchez family to the Melmans to 8 Hospitality to Robbie Schloss and them to we're
Dynamic
to
Brad Parker.
Love y'all. We've worked with those guys forever and ever and ever. And specifically like a Sam Sanchez and the Stefani groups.
Of
course. Like the Sam Sanchez of the world who have been in this business for so long. When we talk to them one-on-one, that's a guy that knows what we're capable of and is actually giving us. He's a great guy, a good friend, but also a business guy. Him and Michael Gonzalez and Karina Sanchez and Samantha Sanchez. Chucky Peduto. People we've known forever. They know what we do. And they've told people what we do. And they've given us the kudos and the compliments and whatnot. We don't ask for it, but they've done that for us because they know we work hard and work our asses off, and we're hustlers.
I mean, Sam just said, like, the other day we were at, and Luke Canellis is a great friend, and Avli and everything, we were at River North Fest, and we didn't ask him to say anything. He's like literally saying in front of everyone. When I'm saying in front of everyone, there's like some higher ups and influencers that have been around forever, and he's like, dude, if you don't know what these guys do, they are the hardest working kids I know. And he's like legit.
Well, besides his family. Let's be honest. His family number one.
But he's saying that stuff because he believes it. And I mean, if you know Sam, Illinois Restaurant Association, the board of Gateway Green with me, these guys that are real give it real. You know what I'm saying? Because they know what work is.
Fiction versus nonfiction. Right. Fiction is what people perceive, and nonfiction is what's really going on. And it's a great. These are good friends of ours, but we've worked our asses off for them our whole lives. So
and continue, right. And so it goes. Here comes. So you're continuing with the work stuff, So yeah, then we did. Listen, we got 3 Arts Entertainment out of LA. Ultimately, Adriana Costa, Mark Schulman wanted to do a TV show on us, and we got to the point where we were, in bed with E Entertainment, the Godfrey Hotel, Matt McHale, a bunch of other people. And what happens is some things just don't work out. Yeah. And they got a new president for E that decided to go with a show called The Royals, which is, I think, still on TV.
The Royals bumped the LANDAN twin reality TV show. I'm so pissed at them.
I'm not very happy. But you know what? It comes to point, I think you'd said something about influencers, right? And they're like, guys, I know this didn't work out, but we were bummed. You know what I'm saying? They go, I know this didn't work out. You guys should do a YouTube channel.
Right.
And we're like, what is that?
What's a YouTube channel? And we totally screwed that one up. We totally screwed up. We should have done a YouTube channel, and then maybe we'd be, whatever those boxing guys are.
Who are the boxing guys that are the Pauls? The Pauls.
Yeah, the Pauls, and we'd have our own crime and be multi-billionaires, whatever.
Well, you guys got Hardley Water, and I'm going to taste this here.
Yeah, please. Yes. Let's talk about that next, because that's a very interesting story.
Yeah.
Give us your honest opinion. Be honest.
That's nice. Gluten-free, all natural. Non-carbonated, I actually enjoy a lot.
Yes. So let's talk about this for a second, because this really is what we've been doing for the last year. And so a year and a couple months ago, I was at Windy City Smokeout with a girl or whatnot, and the year before that, we were running a tequila company. My brother had gotten us involved in a tequila company called Magenta Tequila, and that went really well for us for a year. And then after that, you always hopefully leave companies on a good note, which we did with Magenta. I was at, we were looking for the next big thing. We were going to basically take out the summer of 2023 and find out the next big thing. Ed Worm had given us tickets for Windy City Smokeout and the Melmans, and I ended up going on Saturday with a girlfriend of mine, and my brother was there with somebody else. But I was just rolling around, having a great time at Windy City Smokeout, and this couple comes up to me. And once again, Windy City is one of the best. It's the best festival, but it's not really a place where you're going to go do business. You want to, drink a little bit and have fun and watch the bands and all that kind of stuff. And this couple came up to me and they were trying to talk business about this new company. All I heard was wah, 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 Hardley Water, wah, 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 wah. So I exchanged numbers with our partners, Jason and Tanya, and they gave me their card. And once again, I went on my merry way, had a great time with this girl, and didn't even think about it.
Now, did they know you from, obviously, you're one of the Landon twins, right?
So-
They're like,
so-
we want to get this guy involved?
No, what they did know was I was one of the Landon twins, and basically that was really it. They didn't. I mean, they obviously knew some stuff, but they didn't know more than that. And I didn't know who they were just because we meet so many people. And once again, that was not the right atmosphere to start talking about a business partnership. But about 3 days later, I found their card. And I'm like, oh, let me look this up. And I found out what Hardley Water was. It was a gluten-free, spiked still water, no bubbles. So it's nothing like I've ever seen. It was not like High Noon. It was not like Neutral. It was not like some of these other big brands. It had no bubbles in it. So the whole purpose of it was low calorie. It was healthy. They put all their ingredients on the can, which a lot of people don't do. And it doesn't bloat you. It doesn't give you the burps. It doesn't basically make you have any heartburn, all that kind of stuff. So I started looking at this. I'm like, this is very interesting. So I sent them an email. Initially, I just had a phone call with them, talking about their business and what their goals were and where they were at. It's crazy how everything aligns up. They developed this company during COVID. Tanya, it's a woman-owned company, who's the CEO and one of the founders, and Jason is her husband and the other co-founder. Tanya drank a lot of champagne and some carbonated stuff and just didn't settle with her stomach. So during COVID, obviously they were living together, completely different than what my brother and I were doing during COVID, but they were drinking and having fun and whatnot with themselves. And they were like, let's make some non-carbonated drinks. And they were mixing vodka with a lot of infused fruit. They're big foodies, infused fruit flavors, whatever. And they go, that's weird. Is there actually an RTD out there that doesn't have bubbles? And they found out the answer was no at the time. And this is like 2020. So they created this idea. They spent a year on the tastes and all that kind of stuff and the solutions to get that ready. And when I met them, like I said, the stars aligned. They were ready to launch this thing. I met them in July of 2023. They were ready to launch this thing either in August or September. So they told me all this stuff. At that point, I'm like, all right, let me tell my brother about this. This is something maybe we should get involved in. We set up a meeting at Lifetime and literally basically wrote them a book about the Landon twins. Here's everything about us. We sent them articles. We sent them videos. We sent them everything on our social media. We sent them everything we've done with Mahenta Tequila. We said, listen, we're going to be honest with you. This is everything about us. Go read it. Take your time. Take a week. If this is something you like, come back to us and we'll discuss, becoming partners with you and helping launch your brand. That took about a month, and in September of 2023, we signed a deal to help launch their brand.
Right. So that's when everything comes to full on fruition. Listen, the misconception is about a lot of liquor companies out there is that like we're competing against people. We're not. We are a whole. This is done by Sugar Brew, which is is a completely different thing than malt, different than vodka. It's got no bubbles in it. The flavors are completely different.
Yeah, wait. Sugar Brew is what? This alcohol from fermented cane sugar?
Yeah, so it's kind of how they make rum. So it's completely different. Once again, fiction versus nonfiction.
Right.
Fiction, we're malt. Nonfiction, in reality, we are not a malt beverage. We are made from Sugar Brew. So we're not a beer.
And we're also our company is a new category. Okay.
Right.
Listen, I still don't mind having a Neutral or a High Noon or any of these things once in a while. That's not the point. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a brand new company, a brand new a category. It's basically something that's never been done. And that's why we jumped on, is because, first of all, we absolutely love it. Secondly, it's new. Me and my brother always want to be the forefront of stuff, and our partners came with something that was new. We also want to be partners in the company. We don't want to be the workers anymore. That's just not our thing. So here comes what we do, all right? Right when that contract's signed, we go to the people,
You obviously like it. You're drinking it, which is great. That makes me happy.
The people that I have, specifically, I have personally dealt with for years and years and years. The Sam Sanchez's of the world, you know what I'm saying? The people like the Binnies of the world, the Robbie Schlosses of the world. We can go on and on, but we've said everyone's name. And I go, listen, the other big thing that we do is self-distribute. During COVID, there was a law that said if you created a certain amount of liquid or whatever, or under a certain amount of liquid, you could self-distribute, meaning you don't need a big distributor. Listen, I love the big distributors. There's no doubt about it. But we're a small company. So they've figured out how to do this. Not us. They figured out how to do it.
We're a startup. I mean, we're a startup liquor company.
Right.
We got to keep that in mind.
So what we would do, which is exactly what you do when you have a job. This is what you do. You go and you test this product into places and say, listen, exactly what we said to you. We're not trying to shove this down your throat. We're not saying, hey, you got to take this in because we're the LANDAN twins. You've got to like it because we can't get dust on the shelves. Dust on the shelves doesn't work for anything. That means that it just sits there. So what we did was we went to all of our people that we've probably said a million times, and we had them try it. And they're like, okay, this is good. Now let's put in some implementation. Let's do some events. Let's do some tastings. Let's do all the different things we've kind of talked about full circle. And instead, ultimately what we were talking about was our jobs. Listen, man, things got really bad during COVID. My brother and I never left our house for the most part except to get groceries. We were miserable, specifically me, for 2 years. My whole thing's going out. The Crystal Gardens and Navy Pier, the thing that I was about to go on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for New Year's, gone. That whole thing's gone. This liquor opportunity came in. I had a girlfriend right at the end of COVID, and that started because, this old school, once again, you keep relationships forever. We don't ruin relationships. It's not our thing. And she came to me and she said, oh, it looks like you and your girlfriend are having so much fun. It looks like you just got back from Cabo. I've got this tequila company. That's where we got our feet wet with everything, learned that part of the business, learned what to do, what not to do, yada. And then when this thing came on, and this is completely different. It is a ready-to-drink beverage. No bubbles, which personally, I am getting a little older, and I love a Diet Coke. And like I said, I love neutral and all these, but I can't drink it as much as I used to be able to do it. And so this resonated with me as well. I like the black can. I like it's Chicago-based. I like it's women-owned based because we do a lot of charities with, Lynn Stage Cancer Research and other things that are women-based things. And then I felt that there was a lack of this type of product in the market, meaning none. And that's when John goes into full beast mode, goes to all of his people, his Rolodex, and says, let's set up meetings. All we did was set up meetings for months. And then when everyone was going on vacations in January, right after, and I was still involved, we were still involved in New Year's a little bit with Ted Wyden and Chicago scene. Right after that, when everyone's going to Miami and Cabo and all this stuff for a month and enjoying themselves, I go, you know what? I got to go to my charities now and go to my charity book and hit out all the charities I used to do, because you know what? I want to donate this product because it's great for the charity to donate the product. I want to do after parties with them, and I want to get in front of those people.
But that's the target market we are trying to reach. Everybody doesn't realize there's multiple things that are great about charities. One of them is great people go, right? People that are affluent and have money to spend on liquor, people that go to Binnies, people do all this kind of stuff. And two, you get to donate it for a good cause. So,
and they're also donating to the good cause also. Right. So while everyone's sitting on vacation, now fact versus fiction, guys, this is what I did. This is a very big part of a liquor company, I believe, is great. Now, in January, February, March, when it's bitter, freezing cold out, we have events every single week. Every week we've got something. And that then leads into, we did a launch party at Reading Room with Matt McHale in West Loop, which killed it. We did our birthday party at Bodega with the guys from Dynamic Group, and then we ran into summer. And boom, we got into Lifetime. We got into Sam Sanchez's places in Wrigleyville. Robbie Schloss here at Shore Club. A ton of other different places. Our partners did their thing. We did our thing. And now We're everywhere, self-distributing, and just.
I mean, in 8 months, we are in 37 beanies. Once again, there's 4 of us. And this is an equal thing that we did with our partners. We did stuff, they did stuff, Jason and Tanya did stuff. Very equal roles. We got in at 37 beanies. We're on like 60 on-premise. We've done like 50 charities. We're in golf courses.
All the boats, the whole boat scene all summer long.
Not my boat. We're dealing with
the playpen.
And now we're in golf courses. So we started
Lifetime,
and now FFC. We started off just in Chicago, and now we're all over Illinois. And once again, it's 4 of us running this company, where normally you would get a distributor that would help you out with all this. We've done it all on our own. It's just been an amazing ride. And it's kind of what we're doing right now.
But once again, it goes to your first question. This is not like, hey, guess what? We're going out drinking and then sleeping till 2 p.m. now.
Right.
Like, you're getting up at 6.
Don't attack me like that.
You get up at 6. You do all your paperwork. You know what I'm saying? And then you're just hitting it. And listen, the playbook that we've got is nothing new. It's just, these are personal connections we've and it's all about the connections.
We're not paid to play.
No.
I mean, there's a lot of companies out there that pay to play, meaning they've got big budgets, and good for them. I mean, that's great. Mazel tov to that. But that's not our mentality. Our mentality is we want to utilize our contacts we've had for 20, 30 years to grow a brand. And that's what we've done with our last 2 brands. We did that with Magenta Tequila, and now we're doing this, and now we're part owners of Hardley Water.
Right.
Now, the payoff of what we've done is now we're part owners and shareholders of Hardley Water.
But then, just all you got to know that this is constant. You just don't stop. Like, you put your foot on the gas, going full on, and we're just starting right now. So ultimately, we hope that you actually go and try Hardley Water at many of the establishments in Chicago.
Where can you get it for sure?
So Beanies is our biggest. I mean, right now we're in 37 Beanies all over Illinois. I mean, all over. We have 5 flavors. We started off with 3, but now we have 5. We've got watermelon, peach, and raspberry that are really more of like the summer flavors, for boats and whatnot, and outdoor venues at the beach, whatnot. We've also got a blueberry and a cucumber, which are a little different. A lot of, for brunches are great, with mimosas, with Bloody
it's basically a spa water. You know what I'm saying?
What is your thought process?
Yeah,
what do you
spa
think?
water is the perfect way to describe it, because it's got that, it's like just a little hint of flavor, which I love, and you feel like you're doing something good for your body.
Can you taste the alcohol, though?
No, you don't taste the alcohol.
Right,
it's just a little hint of flavor.
And there's 5% alcohol, by the way, in each can.
It gets those brainwaves going where you're like, oh, last time I tried to be healthy, this is like the water that I was drinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very, listen, and that's the thing, like, and we love, listen, all the brands we deal with in Chicago, like, we love everyone. You know what I'm saying? We are always helping, still to this day. We never try. A big Parker thing is, always to help, nothing to hinder, no matter what. We're not trying to come after your liquor or your drink and try to, push you to the side. We are trying, what we are is us. We're original. We like original things, and that's what we've always been. All of the stuff that we do is original. We love this brand, and we are trying to start a new category that no one has started, which we have done very successfully.
But I will say this, we talked about this kind of in the beginning. Everybody tries to shoot us down, which is crazy to say, because, when you have people you've known forever, or, friends, or, competitors or whatever, but me and my brothers, we try to build everybody up. I'm not trying to ever shoot people down. For some reason, people like to try to shoot the LANDAN twins down because they don't want to see us succeed, which is crazy, because I would never do that to anybody. We would never do that to anybody we know. And I think, we found a good group of people to work with is great, but also a lot of our industry folks that we've known for a long time, they want us to succeed. So they brought us in because they want to actually see the LANDAN twins succeed. And I think in 8-9 months, we've shown Chicago and Illinois, what we could actually do with the liquor brand. And because being in a liquor brand is maybe the hardest job to possibly have. And, I obviously being a DJ, that's very difficult too, people think it's so easy.
Being in the nightclub restaurant industry, extremely difficult. Places don't last it's 3 to 6 months. And we've been doing this. I have been doing this, if I can even believe this, like 31 years, and I'm still here like doing it. So as much as like everyone's like, oh, you don't work, you don't do this, I don't care what you say. You have no idea. You don't know what my bank account is, and I just don't care. I don't have to care anymore.
Can we get a screenshot of it to put up on the?
No, yeah, terrible idea. I will give you my bank account numbers and just go take all my money.
Yeah, you want to do that? Yeah, that's right.
Yes,
but I think that the thing is that I've learned a lot through this process is that I hated the word pivot during COVID. It was like literally like the worst thing ever. Listen, a lot of bad happened during COVID for me. Like I was, listen, a lot of people said in Chicago, you might not even realize this. Like John and Andrew, the LANDAN twins, if you guys go outside, you're going to give the world COVID and kill everyone. Like people said that to us.
They thought, okay,
right,
what was going to happen during COVID? The LANDAN twins were going to throw these crazy parties, have everybody come over and ruin COVID for everybody, and we're going to be stuck at home.
So what we did the opposite. We stayed in. I didn't want to get these shots. I did it for humanity. I had not gotten a flu shot, I think, in 20 years. I did it. Yeah. I did the COVID shot. I did all that stuff. Yeah, because I'm healthy, man. Like I'm healthy. Like I take care of myself. We actually both got into workout regimes during this thing. I got a girlfriend right after COVID, which led to the liquor company, and then led to my brother meeting, our partners now. All these are positive things, but the negatives, it was dark days before that. And for me specifically, I'll be honest, man, I lost everything. Like New Year's at the Crystal Gardens, that was something I built with Stefani for 15 years. Gone. Completely just gone.
Yeah, that's
just
insane.
Like that.
You know what I'm saying? Is actually, to step back and look at that is insane. To have this thing that you've been doing for 15 years, and then just by the luck of the draw, the industry that you're in, you can't do it anymore.
That was it was so. My brother had other skills. He does. There's no doubt he came from a different part. But for me personally, I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do? I literally was like, because everyone kept on saying to me dude, this is over. I'm like, no, it's not. I mean, come on. Well, they'd be months, 6 months, 8 months. You're a year into this, and then you're going, I'm like, dude, this is over. And I didn't know really what to do with that. And so, like I said, this woman, and I'll give her all the credit in the world, she used me to get to the next point, because she saw me and my girl on vacation and saw that I was still kind of relevant in some ways, because I'm sure she had no idea what to turn to either. And then me and my brother brought my brother, and we crushed it for them.
Everything happens for a reason in this life. I will truly say that. I mean, listen, bringing it full circle, our dad going away to jail, right? That taught me and my brother literally to get a thicker skin, to learn how to save money, to, get loans, find out how to get loans, get a good job, utilize that job to pay off your life. I mean, everything happens for a reason, and if these things don't happen in the LANDAN twins' lives, our dad going away, having to do everything on our own, we also stopped talking to our entire family at that point.
Not because that was not because of choice. My mother decided to start a new family, and we were not part of that.
So it's just lots of choices that happened that made me and my brother move on to the next. Find other people that we consider our family, friends that we consider family. We actually went out and found people that treat us like family, and people that are now in our lives for 20, 30 years. We haven't talked to our mom in another fact versus fiction, fiction versus nonfiction. We haven't had real family in our lives since we were basically 22 years old. We are now 47. That is 25 years. That's a long, long time. And us growing what we've done from a business standpoint, from a family standpoint with friends and whatnot, is just
and it's not all great. Me and my brother aren't best friends. We're not hey, let's just you guys are best friends. It's so cool. You're twins. And dude, not even close. It's business. There's definitely the fights happen, all that stuff. It's like any family. And the other big thing is about family. And we've talked enough about ours, but man, if you're thinking about having family, it's a start to finish job. It's not hey, I'm going to bring a kid in the world, I'm going to get married and all this different stuff. No, and
then halfway through, you're like, I'm out.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's not working for me.
Or guess what? The money's gone. Listen, there's things that happen in this world, and maybe we're getting a little philosophical right now. We're getting a little deep, but that's the truth. because whatever you do to your family members affects them, and you don't know how it's going to affect them. Like me and my brother have thick skin. I don't know if your family member or any of them do too, but you just have to be cognizant of all that different stuff.
I think we surrounded ourselves with good people, really good people and
good work ethic.
Good work
ethic is the biggest thing that you first ask, man. Like, dude, every single day I'm looking to work. Like, I really am. Am I going to have fun? Am I going to enjoy myself? Am I going to do what I normally do? Which, sure, I'm tan, man. We both are. We like laying at the pool. We like doing our work from there during the few months of summer we've got. You know what I'm saying?
Well, listen, I mean, nobody can tell you that you're doing anything wrong because you're 47 years old and you guys look like you're 26. So
you know what I will say. This is a good thing is because I think the one thing. Here's another fiction versus nonfiction. We are so not into drugs at all. We don't even take Tylenol.
No.
I mean, we do drink. Don't get me wrong. We drink our fair share.
I definitely drink.
We've definitely been wasted. Everybody's done their stupid things when they're drunk.
Sure.
But we never got into drugs. And when I say drugs, prescription drugs and Adderall and cocaine and all that kind of stuff. Never got into that stuff. And I really think that messes a lot of people up.
I think the biggest part is, I got to be honest, it's the parents that I've always said this. Once the parents just say, okay, I'm going to tune out a little bit and like just start them on a prescription regimen, that really messes you up. Because your parents are giving you this stuff that you don't have any control over. And I'm not saying it doesn't do well for certain people, but it can lead to other things. Our parents, thank God, were too cheap to get us that stuff.
They're two cheap Jews that didn't want to go spend the prescription for Adderall on us.
Right.
And, listen, we have a great life, right? We're doing all the fun stuff. We're on boats, Windy City Smokeout. We go to a million events. We go into clubs and all that kind of stuff. And listen, it's great. We got to do it for a reason because we deserve it after all the stuff we put in to get to the point we're at right now. But, when we're on boats and stuff like that, we see a lot of these younger folks, right? And they're on, who knows what they're on these days. I don't know.
I can tell you what they're on.
I heard a 2C. I've heard K. I've heard all this stuff.
Right.
But I look at some of them, and they look at me and my brother like, oh, yeah, like you said, how old are you guys? And I would never lie about our age. They're like, I go, how old do you look? They're like about 30, 33 or whatever. I'm like, great, we're 47. And I'm looking at them thinking, well, I wonder how old they are because when they do these drugs and whatever they're doing, they're really screwing up their skin, their bodies, everything. And it's crazy to see, and it's good. My brother and I never got in that point.
I think the biggest thing is that, stick with booze, stick with, what also you feel comfortable with. Obviously,
Hardley Water.
Hardley Water. Stick with Hardley Water. It's great. It
Hardley Water keeps you young. Yeah. That's really what the slogan should be.
That's exactly right.
Hardley Water teaches you young. Yeah.
Now, let me ask you guys this.
Yeah.
Trying to, land the plane here.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, it sounds like a plane. Oh, that was not a plane. Oh, are you saying land the plane because it was just Aaron Water show?
Yeah.
Well, LANDAN.
Land
the
in
plane.
the
Yes,
plane.
I like that. Yeah.
Oh, I do want to give a shout out. Thank you to the people that we were on the boats with on Saturday. Anthony Stefani and Castaways and Robbie Schloss and Shore Club. You guys did a killer job on Aaron Water show. So I hope you made some money.
Gotta plug some people.
Yeah, gotta
hope
plug.
they made
A
a
lot of plugs in this one. But let me ask you this.
Yeah.
You've been in nightlife for 31 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you feel about it right now at the current moment? Chicago nightlife specifically.
I'll answer that first because this is kind of my little baby. I think that there's a few things. First of all, you got to understand the nightlife that we grew up in is completely different. And even the guys that that will tell you that have been in this business a long time. There was no social media. There was no text messaging. There was no phones. There was no nothing. It was all word of mouth. It was a lot of napkin writing, like addresses and all that different stuff. And I'll tell you right now, I did like the fact that there was just a handful of places back in the day that you went on. Mondays was Buzz, and Tuesdays was Narcisse, and Wednesdays was I think Buddha Bar, and Thursdays was Y Bar, and then Friday, the weekends, of course, there was like the circuses, the White Stars, all that different stuff. I loved all that stuff. Late Passage, Red No 5. I'm missing a few, but
Narcisse, yeah.
But
Glow.
Listen,
Glow.
I think that what I found personally was that, which I hated back in the day, was all these kids from LA and New York, kids that I went to college with, but then other people saying, dude, Chicago's got nothing. Like, you just are a bunch of okay, you are the second city. okay, it's fun to visit for a second, you know, but then we're out. And that's a lot of my friends would come in for like a weekend once a year, once every 2 years, have the time of their life, but never show back up. But they wanted me to stay here because I was their hookup for Chicago. And then now these guys are big business.
And they had amazing times when they came. I mean, they were like, I cannot believe, and once again, we're going back in the day, this is what you guys do in Chicago every weekend. This is not how we do it in New York, meaning like the connections we had, what we're doing, bottle service and table service, all this kind of stuff in our early 20s. They're like, I can't believe you guys are running the city at your young age. In New York, we are nobody's there. In LA, we're nobody's there. So it was like that was awesome.
But then it brings here's the question.
Tell me about the scene back then in terms of like exclusivity in terms of what was going on inside of the nightclubs. There's no phones. It's a more
my god. So I mean, listen. The cool thing is that there were VIP rooms in some sort of way. Why I say it was cool to have that is because, listen, like when the celebs came into town, they wanted to not have the issues that they had in LA,
paparazzi.
Vegas, Hamptons, New York, all that different stuff. We knew all about that stuff because we knew a lot of them from there and because of our friends and stuff like that. So that VIP gave them a sense of comfortability. And me and my brother were a big part of that comfortability, and we were able to bring in, you know, like a really good crowd for them to enjoy themselves. Which celebrity life, listen, I'm not in no way are me and my brother celebrities. I would never say that, but people do call us these local celeb, whatever, and that opens you up to anyone saying anything. I think you saw earlier in the in the podcast that people say some shit and it annoys.
Drive by.
And it annoys a lot of the celebrities. It annoys a lot of the athletes. It annoys people. So back then, without the social media, without that and all that stuff, they could enjoy themselves.
There was a lot of films being shot in Chicago. I mean, specifically Ocean's 11, 12, and 13. And that was like the heyday of Chicago when we were in the nightlife. And you said what was the difference between then and now? Then you did have some very exclusive stuff. You couldn't just walk in. You couldn't just pay your way in. You had to know somebody.
There was also a handful of places too. Right. So there was not a lot of places.
And if you got into a place like a White Star, you know, yes, okay, the general pop could get into White Star, but you didn't want to hang out just in White Star. You want to be in like the super, super, super VIP. Same with Buddha Bar back in the day, and same with places like Circus, Lake Passage.
Narcisse. Then there became these VIP clubs that were only holding. So you had the big clubs like Circus, and then we opened up a club within a club. I mean, it's crazy. Like it never happened before. It was called the Bedroom and Skylight. So then everyone wanted to get in those two clubs. Like, and then we had a thing at Circus called the Kitchen, which was the Bub City Kitchen. It was a freaking kitchen. But then everyone wanted to hang out there. So by the time you got into like so many different VIPs, you're hanging out in the kitchen.
It was amazing, though. It was so amazing because there wasn't, oh my God, I'm looking at my phone the whole time. Right? You were like, okay, if you knew the right people, you were going to be at the right spot, and hopefully the girl you met the last weekend was going to be there. You didn't have her number, really, or you might have had her number.
But there was ChicagoScene.com, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
And Ted Wyden, I will give a lot of credit to, but then I'll also kind of tell him that he messed up a little bit, because Chicago Scene was when every Monday you'd come from your corporate. My brother's in corporate land.
Right.
And I was in the nightlife land. And I wanted to make sure my nightclubs were on Chicago Scene, and him and his corporate people wanted to see the pictures of who they were with.
I wanted to make sure they weren't seeing me in the club pictures, but it really was the beginning of what
it was Facebook.
Facebook was all about.
It was Facebook.
If you were in these pictures, you were the cool people in Chicago.
And then there was message boards, and you could message people. Now, messaging stopped on that because they were physically saying stuff about me and my brother that was terrible. I won't even get involved, but that's what was taken off. But so these were the communications you're talking about. But you know what? It was just like, so the playpen, you know what I'm saying? Like a handful of us started the playpen back then. It was nothing like, you know why? Because we just wanted to tie up and enjoy ourselves. And then B96 Radio brought a helicopter up and said, wow, that looks like a playpen. Another misfit. Everyone thinks, oh, I started the playpen. No, that's how it started. It started on my buddy's boat, David Goldberg's boat. Ted Wyden came after that, put a little Chicago scene flag. We tied up with all of our friends, enjoying ourselves, and that's how it started. Like these are
so
real
you guys are
things.
semi-responsible for crowning the playpen.
Oh, for sure. We didn't come up with the name the playpen. I think that came from B96 when in like 2000 or 2001, all these boats were tied up and they go, it looks like an amazing playpen. That's kind of what they said.
Right.
But to get really to your question is, back in the day versus now, I listen, social media is obviously making us all money, right? We're doing this podcast now, whatnot, but it also ruined a lot of things because back in the day, you were like, if you saw a girl one week, you're just hoping you're going to see them again. If you're single, right? If you want to get into a club, you had to figure out how to do it. There was no playbook. I'm going to go look on the internet. I could pay $100 to get in or whatnot. You had to figure it out, and it was a fun game to play.
It was a game, right? If you got denied, you weren't mad, you weren't crying, you weren't upset.
And
you were like, how do I get in next time?
You wouldn't go nuts at the bouncers because once again, you
didn't know the bouncer.
You did not want to ruin relationships. You just figured it out. Listen, there's a lot of people that moved to Chicago right after college. My brother and I happen to know everybody, so they came to us and we hooked them up with a lot of stuff. But there's some people that learned the game on their own and they became big. I mean, there's a lot of people. I mean, look at Dante. Dante wasn't even from Chicago, right? Look what he's done. Robbie Schloss was from Cleveland. Look what he's done.
I think Colin Comer. So bringing that full circle, Colin Comer's done an amazing job, Tao, and that brings it now kind of full circle. Listen, I loved what we had. But you know what? If we didn't involve, kind of what my friends from LA and New York were saying, if we didn't get, and I think Tao, I can't say enough of how great of a job Tao has done because they used their, all their stuff from, New York, LA, Vegas, etc., that knowledge, and then used what I believe was the biggest part, their local people. Colin Comer,
Morgan.
Grant, Morgan. I'm sorry, not Grant. Phil Nowinski, Morgan. These local DJs, all this different stuff. Dude, Chicago is a different beast. We are all about, and people call us meat and potatoes. We are meat and potatoes in a lot of different ways. We are local. We want to take care of the local. We want to take care of the Midwest because you know what? If they come to the Midwest and have a great time in Chicago, is the hub of that. They're going to go to New York and Vegas and LA and Miami, and they're going to be like, oh my God, I had the best time there ever. I'm going to spend all my money out there. That's why plays all debut here. That's why concert tours debut here. They want to see what the Midwest. I went to Wisconsin. He went to Indiana. Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, all these places, all these Big Ten schools. Why do you think the Big Ten is so big right now? With all the LA schools, with Oregon, with USC. You know why? Because a lot of these people transplanted to those places, and they are demanding to have the Big Ten open up to their schools.
But really, to talk about the nightlife this day and age, you can't compare them. It's like apples.
You can't compare
it's apples to oranges. But I think.
But let me try and narrow it down.
Yeah.
In your opinion, do you think it's even possible today to create that exclusivity, that need, that desire, that same kind of feel?
Money's always going to talk.
And then there's TikTokers, and then the social media people. It's like these things. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not knocking on that.
Right.
But at the end of the day, sure, I think that LA has done a very good job, and New York has done a very good job because celebrities are actually there. We don't have any celebrities in Chicago. Like we
have people that visit and listen. I think,
and they actually come here to.
I do think some of the groups have done a really good job at kind of making things more exclusive. Tao, obviously, the Melmans with what they're doing. Sienna Tavern Group, great with what they're doing. Robbie Schloss and stuff that they do. I think there's groups that have different things and whatnot. But when you try to make it so exclusive in Chicago, you're almost like you're almost screwing people over and pissing people off. And if you want a business, in our mind, we've been told by our mentor, it's a marathon, not a sprint. You don't want to be the hottest club and then 2 months later you're done.
Yeah.
You want to be the club that lasts 8 years, 10 years.
The restaurants that last all that time. And the thing is you can't go back in the past. Like the things that happened in the past were basically, they happened because they evolved. And what's evolved now is that we have I think the West Loop has done an absolutely phenomenal job. That is a very well safe area. tons of restaurants, bars, clubs. It's almost a little world within the world of the nightclub industry, and that's where everyone's going.
Giving a little shout out to Brad Parker. I mean, look what he did with Basement, right? I mean, that venue had failed so many times before that. I mean, the Grid did well, and Robbie was doing that, so yeah, that was fun. But with the Basement, I mean, look, that's look what Tao did. I mean, Tao took over Castle and Excalibur. Those were two iconic clubs, but no one was going there back again. Right. And they made Tao amazing. And then you look at, listen, River North had its run. You know, obviously the crime and violence during COVID did not help with that I still
stuff.
think Carmen and them are doing great at Hubbard Inn and Joy District. I love those places, but, they've got a niche with that. But for the most part, I think West Loop is where it's at as far as if you want to go to a place, walk around, feel safe.
And then exclusivity. You're talking about exclusivity. I mean, you've got Soho House there, so obviously we know that's a very exclusive place. I think that, you've got the Penthouse above Fioretta. That's an exclusive. A lot of people
LaSalle is doing a really good job.
They're doing these things like, now like Posh and different invites with QR codes. So there's still that exclusivity. It's just not what we had before.
No, right.
No.
That was organic.
It wasn't organic exclusivity where it's like you basically either text somebody or you call somebody or people find out and they just show up. That was the really cool part about the early days of the 2000s that we were doing night clubbing, and it was so fun and so exclusive and so cool, and to see it grow.
And there was no, listen, I get there's a lot of issues on social media right now. There's a lot of people that are making other people feel bad and stuff. I've never got that vibe. I don't like the word as much as whatever, but I never saw anyone saying, "Oh my God, I had like a terrible time," or anyone was trying to like make people feel bad. It just wasn't like that.
Everything was fun. It was always positive back then. Yeah. That's the only difference between now and then. Back then, everything was really positive, and now I feel like a lot of people, if they go out for a club experience and they don't get in, or they don't get the right table, they're going to start bitching,
or the rub the wrong way. There are people out there that go after, certain people and make them want to feel bad and make them want to wait and also like it's weird like that those things didn't exist. It was like the bouncer at least said, "Dude, you're not getting in tonight. I'm sorry, we're at capacity, or I've got tables, or I got this." Like, it's great. Then you left.
It's disturbing. It's disturbing seeing that people are getting called out for things that they're not doing. And I feel like me and my brother get called out a lot for things that are out of our control. Like, for instance, if me and my brother are Lala backstage, everybody's like, just get me backstage. It's like they think it's that easy.
Right.
And we're like,
this is 25 years of relationship.
This is not what we did. We got invited, and then they get mad that we didn't get him backstage.
So everyone's got a little bit too much of an ego. Everyone's got a little bit too much of a voice even. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's back in the day, you didn't have that.
No.
You kind of knew your role. Like, you didn't have 50,000 followers on Twitter for, posting videos of you shotgunning Mountain Dews or whatever it is, And now you think that you're somebody and you have this ego and you have this.
And I think that hurts things a little bit because ultimately at the end of the day, good for them. Good for that person. You're making millions of dollars for doing whatever you're talking about.
Even though, like they're not even making $1, but they got these followers.
I got it. But the thing is that a lot of these people that I've met that do whatever they do, they're not good people. They're not nice. They're like pretentious. But the other thing that I feel why they are that is because they've been sitting in their room for the last 10 to 12 years, not going out, not figuring out like reality and stuff. Like I go back to the movie, and I'm sure this is probably too old for your crowd, but whatever, like Good Will Hunting. And Robin Williams sits there to Matt Damon and goes, "You're the smartest guy I know. But have you ever been to the Sistine Chapel and smelled that? Have you been on a plane before? Have you been to all this different stuff?" The people that you have on your podcast, and I could talk for me specifically, but I know my brother too. Like, dude, we've done everything. We have been bus boys to cleaning boys to mailroom guys to cleaning up poop out of diapers to cleaning up scraped knees to throwing nightclub parties to hanging out with celebrities. We've done A to Z, and I think that is what the mentality that I have heard, and I hope I'm saying this right, is how Richie Melman taught his kids. Like, he didn't just give them everything; he made them bread makers and busboys and whatever. Like, I don't know if those are exact same things, but I respect that. You've done all those jobs.
These influencers come in, and because they've got a bunch of followers, they think they deserve everything.
Right.
It's like, okay, check out my TikTok. I've got 100,000 followers. You know what I say to that these days? Listen, who knows if that's even real, right? If you go and brag about you have 100,000 followers, there's no systems that could say if they're bots or not.
Right.
The one thing I'll say about me and my brother, at least our organic system, everything's real, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is really what's helped us grow something like Hardley Water, because if we had all that fakeness, like the bots, whatever, that's one thing. The other thing is, these kids, I mean, it's more of a younger generation that never done anything in their lives. They come in and they say, "Oh, well, I should walk right in because I'm an influencer."
Right.
But really, what is an influencer? What are you doing to influence other people? And maybe that's something you can answer, but I don't really know what that is.
I also
We're
think
have to get Grace back on here to answer that.
It does also go back to what you're saying. Are you talking about Grace Andrews?
Yeah.
I love Grace.
Yeah,
Grace is the
yeah,
best.
had her
Grace is the
on.
best. But yeah, so but go. Grace is great. Gigi is great. But I want to say something with you because you asked this question. It's like a lot of these folks or whatever, like they're the ones that are shaming someone that's not them. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God, I did this. Like, and they're like making these younger generation feel bad because because maybe they got lucky with something. I'm not saying that some of these influencers are not very good at what they do. I'm not saying that at all, but that's where a lot of the bullying and all this other stuff is coming.
Take the hot Tua girl. Listen, God bless her. Great. Good for her. And you know what? She didn't even know what she was doing, and they made her a celebrity influencer.
Yeah.
And listen, that's great. As long as and I think I've heard that she's getting a lot of feedback and advice from some of these big time celebrities like Shaq and whatever. And I think she's going to take her career in a good way. But getting thrown into this doesn't make you an influencer.
And also, I'll be honest, like that's the one thing about us is we've been doing this for so long, so we can take that heat.
Yeah.
We could take that, like that like the falsities and all that stuff. But that's what's the problem with these younger kids. They've never had this, and that's what. When you watch, I watch these TikTok every day. There's someone that's passed away.
I think to answer your question, though, I think the nightlife scene from back in the day to where it is now, it's just so different. I think there's greatness to both of them. It just, if you still want to be in it, there is definitely
there's new rules, there's new games, there's more money, there's also more expectation for these places because they're putting in a lot of money to make this money. You can't just like open up something anymore. You got to be bigger and better than the other one.
You can't have Metro Booming and Zed and not expect to get people to buy tables for that, right? You can't be an influencer saying, give me everything for free. These guys got to pay their bills.
Yeah.
And I don't think they understand that part.
There's a disconnect there for sure.
Right, for sure. Major disconnect.
And that's hurting.
Yes.
But we got to wrap this. The batteries on the cameras are going to die.
Oh.
We've gone as long as we could go. You guys are talking and giving us all the information we could have ever wanted, to be honest.
Good.
This has been fantastic.
Sweet.
I really appreciate you coming out, spending your day off with me.
Yeah.
You know, before we started, I just felt like your day off was, another day that ended in Y for you guys. But now we know that you're hard workers.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Get some Hardley Water for sure. Definitely get that.
Denny's,
it is very good.
Yeah.
Every time I do taste it, it makes me feel like I'm drinking something healthy.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the best part of it.
3 of those, though, will get you a little tipsy. So that's a good thing.
I like that.
Yeah, I just want to appreciate. I think you asked the right questions and you didn't do what some other people could have easily done. But I think that at the end of the day, this is the truth.
Yes.
And sure, we are not perfect. Everyone out there, no one is. And if you are perfect, then God bless you. But I've never met one of you in my entire life. So do what you do, work your ass off, and enjoy your life because you never know when that is going to end, whether it's COVID or it's just some freak accident on a highway.
Yeah, we appreciate you letting us let this all. We haven't done this in a while. I think the last time we really did this was 2012. So to do this now, 12 years later, and kind of get into more detail, have a forum like yours, appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for coming. And if you guys are watching, please help us out. Like the video, drop a little comment on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. Algorithm activating activity. That's what we like to see here. And we'll catch you next time. Peace.
Peace y'all.
Well, alright. Battle raps cause I've shaken grown men to the point that they can't even face their own friends. That's why they rhyme about jewels, not life, cause the ice on which they skating is so thin. That's what I love about the human soul. It'll usually show when the truth ain't told. He was alive.